Let's see how we do. Last year we started 5 hives and we ended up with 0 at the end of the season because we obviously did not treat for mites and don't plan to do so this year either. We're going to try to figure out a different way of doing it. So right now we have that little hive on the left side that we started from. The one next to it to the right is a swarm from it that we caught, and then the 2 hives on the right are empty. The ones on the container, there are 3 of them that are full, 5 total, 2 empty. So long story short, I believe the reason for these mites overpowering the bees is the design of the Langstroth hive. I believe that the hive has walls that are too thin to keep the cold out in the winter. I read some things on how to try to mitigate these mites, and one of the suggestions was to heat up the frames. There are actually frames out there that have heating elements in the middle that heat up the frame to a certain point where it is warm but not hot enough to where it melts the wax, and that actually kills the mites. So the higher temperature kills the mites but does nothing to the bees. We all know that bees can create quite a lot of temperatures, quite a lot of heat if they want to, but it seems to me like they don't have enough help from their enclosure in the winter, so they're not able to keep that heat high enough to where they can keep the numbers of mites low enough to survive. And therefore they just leave because they figure out that, hey, this enclosure that we ended up with or ended up in somehow, we don't even know how, is not suitable for our environment. We're gonna leave and hopefully find something better, or not even be here, maybe just die. It's better in the long run. So we're gonna try to insulate these hives for the winter. I got some R30 insulation ready here, some lids that we're gonna use finishing nails to nail on top of the hives. Then we're gonna put some tile on top of that, plastic around it, just stuff I have around the house. Proof of concept. We're hoping to have more hives survive than 0 this year. So we're 0 for 5 last year. We're hoping we got 5 going again this year. Hopefully we're going to end up with at least 1. We will see. Yes, we're still burning cow poop in our smoker. That actually is working out super good. I don't think I'm ever going to be changing that. It stays lit. It takes a little bit longer to get it going, but once it's going, it's going. So these little patties, well dried up, work wonders, and bees love them, they told me. So this is the hive. I had the super on. I put it on kind of late. It's completely empty. I'm going to take it off, and what I'm going to do is just put this lid back on. Without that opening up front, meaning it's going to be facing up, so it stays completely closed. I think the bees like to have their environment closed. And I'm going to grab one of those lids. This is just a sheet of plywood I've cut to size. Just going to put it on top and drive finishing nails all the way around so it holds. 4 tiny finishing nails, 1 in each corner, 1 on the side, just to hold it so it doesn't blow off. Now I'm going to put the insulation around. So far it's looking like a giant marshmallow. I'm not sure what to think about it, but we'll see how it goes. If ever anything that's obvious, it must be this. We're definitely not going for beautiful here. We're going for functional. I think our little marshmallow looks okay. We'll see how it does. This is the way it's going to end up being. That lid might blow off at some time, but they seem okay going in and out. A little bit of orientation, fly pattern, but they'll figure it out soon enough. That's ugly, but hopefully fun. I've been dipsy doodling around with this for about the past 15-20 minutes, and look at the smoker. Still going strong. Beautiful. Love cow poop. And here's the bigger marshmallow waiting to happen. Well, there's the result. It's very, very ugly, but it is done. Looks like I need to clear that plastic out of the way a little bit. They're not having a very good time down there, so we'll still deal with that, but this is it. We'll see how it goes. I don't have enough material to do the rest of them, so I guess I'll do these 2 that way. The other ones, maybe I'll do 1 more. We'll see. Okay, that looks a little better. A little bit out of their way. Again, proof of concept. Let's see how it all works out. So I found these pieces of polyester up in my barn. I have a few more sheets up there. They're pretty thick, and they have this silver coating on both sides. I'm going to cut out insulation for the hives from that. I think that's going to be a lot easier and also a lot more sightly than what I did with the marshmallow effect. It's starting to shape up a lot nicer than the marshmallow. I got the back and front piece ready. I like the way these things feel. I think it's going to turn out a lot better. So I just got out the smoker the next day after yesterday, and it's actually still, go ahead, pump it. It's actually still on, amazingly. This is overnight. This is the cow poop. Wow, amazing. The day after I was doing this marshmallow effect here, and I'm already noticing in these other hives, there's very low traffic. And I opened it up and there's a very little amount of bees. They're clustering kind of in the middle as if though they were cold. And these guys are happily flying around. Maybe they're warmer. And I'm noticing this third hive that I have up here that's occupied. Same kind of scenario. Very sluggish, nothing going on. So we're gonna insulate these today. Hopefully that'll help. Okay, so here's the brood box and the super. And there's gonna be a lid on this. This is what finished product looks like, and this is by far the best design we've come up with so far. If all goes well, it will fit snugly over the top. There it is. Okay, so we're looking pretty good on these hives. It was a cold evening and cold night, but this one's looking good, and this one's looking really, really good. Some orientation flights over there after I've made a marshmallow with a tarp on it. But we're going to check out the other hives on top of the container, see how they're ending up after they're insulated. Out of all these hives, we have 3 on top here that are active. Here's the biggest marshmallow with 2 supers on it. These guys are looking great. There is a lot of activity. They're coming in and out. They're throwing out the dead bees that didn't survive the cold evening. But I think they're looking very healthy. Very nice hive. Now these other ones over here, on the other hand, I don't think are doing as well. I think we've insulated this one a little late, and there's not much activity here. We're talking very little bees coming in and out. I think we have pretty much lost this hive already. And I think the same goes for the other one. This one that is insulated the best. I like this box the most. Unfortunately, I think we've added it a little too late. The activity is very low. I think they're on their way out. I think they will be dying if they survive. I will be very surprised. I think it's effectively we've lost 2 hives already. We'll see how it goes without treating any of these. Let's keep our fingers crossed and that we've at least retained some of these hives. After wrapping these hives, I'm noticing an interesting phenomenon. The one that is wrapped up like a marshmallow here has what could be considered as a lot of activity, bees coming in and out, whereas this control hive that I have here, which I did absolutely nothing to, and I know there are bees inside, they're still inside the hive because it's super cold today even though it's sunny. There's 1 bee landing there, but not too much activity. So I'm thinking that this is actually starting to show that perhaps the hives being cold has something to do with the mite population. I guess we'll find out early next season.